And welcome back to Street Switch Photography. Let's do this.
Street Switch Photography.
So welcome back for another episode of Street Switch Photography. We have been, I've been quite busy surfing the internet. I've been out this morning, done a bit of shopping, all the usual shit that you get up to on a Monday. I hate Mondays. As you can tell by the title, this one's called Met Police Caught Lying. Now, on Saturday, the 13th of September, Tommy Robinson held an event. It's similar to Raise the Flags, bringing the nation together and everything else. Keir Starmer has made a statement on it, basically calling every single person there far-right thugs, when there were only 25 people arrested, 13 of which were the far left. Now, that bloke is a complete and utter warning, swear word, fucking moron. An absolute moron. There were children there were grandmas there were granddads there were families there. It was a family day out, it was a massive event, and basically it's proved Keir Starmer and his cronies completely and utterly wrong. There's a lot online going on about it and everything else, and you've got the lefties basically trying to make head and a tail of it and come out with bullshit. Now, the reason I'm actually doing this video is to show that what the Met Police did on Saturday was absolutely nothing short of damn right disgusting. They lied. They put some of the protesters down a side street towards Antifa and towards the far left other protest, the counter protest that was going on, and wondered why they got trouble. Now, what they did was, because they hadn't got any very good footage, they'd only got footage of basically them battering the far right with truncheons and CS spray, as proven by AY audits. I think it's DJE Media and a lot of other auditors have got raw footage of that actually happening. Now, it was also leaked that Met Police put on Facebook and other social media that they'd got some footage of the far right attacking the Met Police and them getting out of hand, and then it was discovered that that footage was from 2020, as I'm just about to actually show you right here. Now, Metropolitan Police are lying, and their activity lying to social media, trying to pass off a video of photos of photos, I didn't know it was photos as well, from 2020 lockdown riots. Footage was basically released yesterday. It's now been deleted from their site. Here's the actual footage that they were, or there's the photos they were actually trying to pass off as Saturday's event. This is complete and utter bullshit. Now, who would have told the police to do this? Sadiq Khan. That's who would have told the police to actually do this. Sadiq Khan would have said, basically, I want you to try and wind up the right, or what I like to call the far right, go and wind them up and then let the mainstream media in there so they can get their footage and Keir Starmer can call them far right so this doesn't go any further. Gaslighting and bitching about it because he hates white British people. Now, this bloke is a racist. He is a damn right racist. Now, what that means is, if the far left don't seem to understand or be able to get into their heads what racist actually means, or fascist, they're both of what they're calling everybody. Again, we've got the screenshots here. Here's another one. Yes, I didn't just get one, I got two. And I'm just pretty shocked that they tried to pull this off, saying it was for Saturday, when it clearly wasn't. Again, like I said, why would the Met Police do this? They're just dumbasses, sheep, numbers, following orders from Sadiq Khan and people higher up. Where would Sadiq Khan have got his orders from? Well, it'd have been Keir Starmer or somebody in charge in government or somebody like that, wouldn't it? Now, I'm sick and tired of seeing all this far left bullshit, and every time it comes out like this, there's going to be a video, and it won't just be me making a video about it. It'll be lots of other well-known auditors, lots of other well-known news outlets that are on YouTube and other platforms like Rumble and things like that are actually going to be calling this out. And the reason we're calling it out is because the left have actually got absolutely nowhere to turn now. They've got nowhere to turn by calling every single individual that was at that event on Saturday a far-right thug. You absolute, complete and utter moron, Keir Starmer. You complete and utter wet wipe. You muppet. You moron. You complete tit. You tool. And that's what I think about it. So Met Police lie. They are nothing but a bunch of lies, and they're wondering why they're losing the confidence of the public. This is exactly why you're losing the confidence of the public. Because you protect the far left, the sick ideology that has just killed Charlie Kirk. The sick ideology that tried to kill President Trump. The sick ideology that after Charlie Kirk's death is going round destroying vigils, making completely and utterly disgusting statements online about Charlie Kirk and his family, calling him Charlie Squirt. That was a statement that was made online on DJE Media's. Go and take a look on DJE Media's video of the event that happened on Saturday. These people are unhinged. These people are downright dangerous, sick individuals. And they need putting in prison. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, Keir Starmer could do with putting in prison with them. He is nothing but a Nazi himself. He is nothing but a racist himself. He is nothing but a far left Stasi bastard is what Keir Starmer is. And his government. Look who we've got in control. Now, if you think these, what you like to call far right protests, I beg your pardon, are going to stop just because Keir Starmer has turned around and said, oh, they're far right, oh, that's racist, that is. No, they are not. There's going to be more flags going up. There's going to be more protests. There's going to be more people coming together. What you've seen in London will be happening in every town, every city, every village, every hamlet in Great Britain. There are many, many more of us than you. You do not listen to what your people are telling you to actually do, what we put you in that government to actually do. Where's Prince Charles in all of this? Why hasn't he dissolved government? He is supposed to be the protector of Christian faith in this country and this flag. Where is he? His dad would be rolling in his grave about this. It's disgusting what Prince Charles, and he is not my king. Anyway, that's my rant done with that. Also, what's coming onto the scene just now, I've just been informed actually, is Nigel Farage is about to make a statement of what, I'm not quite sure. Shall we take a look? Why not? Let's have a look. Here it is. I'm going to make that bigger. I'm going to put my ugly mug in front of it so it's like that, and we'll play the video and see what Reform UK have got to say. I don't know what this is about. It says Nigel Farage is making an announcement live in London. This was about 11 o'clock, I think. So let's take a look at this.
Good morning, everybody. It's been a very long, busy, and I think successful summer for Reform UK. We didn't go to the south of France this year. We launched our 6-week crime campaign. And I was very, very pleased that we got some senior figures from the world of policing, the prison service, to come and join the party, to set up a task force so we can get legislation planned and ready in time. What was also interesting was there were many in Westminster, in politics and the media, who thought, well, crime's not really a problem because some surveys say that crime is falling. Well, that's certainly not how most people in the country feel. And certainly our advocacy of zero tolerance, particularly for areas like shoplifting, really caught the mood of the country. And plus our insistence on stop and search, which interestingly is popular across all sections of society, regardless whether you're on the left, the centre or the right of politics. Sadly, at the same time, free speech has been genuinely under attack, and I think the final implementation of what was well-intentioned legislation, frankly, is quite chilling. And that allows the public now to believe that we're living in a world of two-tier policing and sentencing.
Not believe. We know for a fact we're living in a world of two-tier. Just look what happened on Saturday. Go and take a look at the auditors' channels. These people do not lie. The camera does not lie. They were pushing those patriots down that street towards the Antifa and the Palestine Action Crew. And they antagonised them to try and make it look bad. Basically, all I seen was the reason the bottles were being thrown and everything else is because they knew what were happening. And on the DJE media, there was actually a statement put out, a leaked statement, to say that was what they were told to do.
And indeed, if you just look at it, you know, if you're a childminder,
swiftly
who says
deleted,
something deeply intolerant and wrong, but only once, ever, it's a long prison sentence. And even if you're a foreign national arriving at Heathrow Airport. Well, if you've said something the authorities don't like, you may well be arrested by 5 armed officers. And if you don't think it's two-tier, well, have a think about this. On Friday, there were some very explicit threats posted on TikTok for me to be killed. Pretty sick in the light of what happened to Charlie Kirk, but quite explicit.
Now, yeah, I did read about this somewhere. There were threats to kill Nigel Farage from the far left. And again, as I said, there's been no threats to kill anybody from what they like to call the far right. These people tried to murder President Trump. They have murdered Charlie Kirk, who had 2 young children, and murdered them in front of his 2 young children. Sick fucks.
Been told this morning by the Metropolitan Police that those posts don't meet the threshold for further action. So I think we are, without doubt, living in a two-tier country. It is extraordinary. The rest of the summer was dominated for us by the weekly by-elections that happen every Thursday, and those that study these things will see we're winning more and more seats and doing particularly well against the Labour Party in some parts of the country where they've been strong ever since the end of the First World War. And of course, this all culminated in our conference in Birmingham 2 weeks ago, which was upbeat, optimistic, full of energy, and the party is in good shape. But I did say, there were 2 things I said in particular.
Just so everybody knows, I can see all the chats now. I was having a bit of a problem getting the chats up, so I can see now.
At the conference. The first was that I thought this government and the British economy were in far deeper trouble than most people realised, and that I did not believe the government would last a full 4 years, thinking myself that a general election by 2027 was entirely possible.
I'll be very surprised if Keir Starmer's here by October as well, mate. I don't think he's going to last much longer. Shout out to Milton Mafia. Also, we've got Charlie. I'm just going to read this. It should have been in Hyde Park. You can close it all off. Yeah, maybe. It was originally going to be in Trafalgar Square. That would have been filled 5 times over. All in all, the Met Police, I think, did an okay job. Remember, they're getting told what to do by Sadiq Khan, and they have to follow the orders and everything else. But there were multiple police there from all round the country, and some of them overstepped their power. There was no need for them to use CS gas and batter people across the head with the truncheons. It was a peaceful protest. Only 25 people were arrested, 16 of which was from Palestine Action.
It seems to me, given events of the last week, it could happen even more quickly than that. I don't know. But I also admitted...
And then after Charlie Kirk, we've got Nigel Farage being threatened with his life. Plus, we've got other auditors online being threatened with their life for revealing what it is the far left actually do.
That our big weakness, and the question that we struggle to answer, is how can a team of people who've never been in government think about going into government? How can a team of people who, if we get elected on a genuinely radical agenda for change, how are we going to...
You think he looks happy now he's had his life threatened after what happened to Charlie Kirk? I don't think he looks very happy. He
deal with some of the barriers that we might face. They might come from elements of the civil service.
But he does know he's got it in the bag, so I'll have to agree with you there, mate.
Of Lords. They might come from a teaching unions. How is a team of inexperienced people going to be prepared to go into government? Well, some of you may think even talking about winning the next election, about government, is pie in the sky. But frankly, having led the opinion polls for over 100 opinion polls, the only responsible thing that we can do is to prepare. And that's why I announced at conference we'd be setting up a department preparing for government. And that is the responsible thing that we're going to do. And that process starts today when we take on somebody who will head up that department.
My bad, mate. I apologise.
Find talent,
I was wrong.
Find people.
Again, I always say that. I always admit when I'm wrong. I read that wrong because there's a heart in the corner of the phone and I can't actually see what was written. I can read it now because you've just wrote another comment. Look how happy he looks and he's got it in the bag. Yeah, I can read that now. Again, yeah, I've got to agree with you. But there's no other way that Reform are definitely going to win. And like somebody just said further up the feed, I don't think Labour are going to last much longer. Who's this? Lambig? I can't read your name on there. LAMBIGFU 11ER. I think that means Fuka.
People with experience in the civil service, in government, and help us get ready.
Is that a picture of Deadpool as your profile picture? That's cool.
For what will be a monumental task. Radical change in a country like this is not easy, but it's necessary, because if it's not done, many of us believe this country will be well and truly sunk. So the man that has been given the job, this enormous responsibility, is a Member of Parliament for East Wiltshire.
Oh, Mr. Fuller. Okay. Spoke
His
to you
name is
earlier.
Danny Kruger, and he joins me, I hope he does, on the stage now. Good man.
Thank you very much indeed, Nigel. Good to see you all. I have been variously a member, an activist, an employee of the Conservative Party for over 20 years. And I have many friends in the party, many good and decent people, which is why it is so personally painful for me to be doing what I'm doing today. There have been moments when I've been very proud to belong to the Tory party. In 2010, I was inspired by the big society, by schools reform and welfare reform. I was thrilled by Brexit.
Richard Tice already won my area. Ain't seen much happen yet. Well, yeah. There's been little things happening. It's when they've got all the power, I think things will start to change. But we've got to keep an eye on Reform as well, because I'm so worried they're just going to turn into another Conservative Tory government. We've still got to be very, very careful about who we vote for. I mean, there's no other way to vote at the moment, because Advance UK haven't got the people in place to be able to run a government, whereas UK Reform just about have. So, yeah, I think this is going to be up to a tactical vote. Reform will win, but then they've got 4 years to prove themselves and do everything they said they were going to do, in my opinion.
And by what Boris Johnson pulled off in 2019. But those were exceptions to the rule. The rule of our time in office was failure. Bigger government, social decline.
Yes, Charlie, I hope it'll be different as well. Things need to change. Again, like I said, over this weekend and what happened with Charlie Kirk and everything else, the far left and the left have totally revealed themselves for what they are. They're losing jobs. We've got lefties that have actually come onto YouTube and actually come onto TikTok and basically said they want nothing to do with the left anymore after what they have done, after what they have, not just the murder of Charlie Kirk, but the way people have reacted. People are losing their jobs. People are leaving that mental ideology, and it's happening all over the internet. And this is where the sort of fight back will be on the internet, most of it, and at protests and things like that.
Low wages, high taxes, and less of what ordinary people actually wanted. And now our country is entering the most profound set of crises in my lifetime, under a government even worse, far worse, than the one it replaced. Crisis in the economy, crisis at the border, crisis in our streets, crisis in our military, crisis for young people. Yes, we are still a great country, and there are good reasons that so many migrants want to come here. But there are...
Main reason that they get everything for free. And they can come here if they've got a passport and they are fleeing war or persecution. Don't mind that, but when you're a bunch of men just coming over on a boat...
There are also reasons so many entrepreneurs and young people want to leave. Britain is not broken, but it is badly damaged.
It's fucked.
And so in this crisis, something's got to give. I hoped after our defeat last year that the Conservative Party would learn the obvious lesson, that the old ways don't work.
Now, this guy was a Conservative, and this is why I talk about I'm worried Reform UK will become just another Tory government, another cheek of the same fucking arse that it's always been. But we're not left with much option at the moment.
That centrism is not enough, that real change is needed. But no, we've had a year of stasis and drift and the sham unity that comes from not doing anything bold or difficult or controversial. And the result is in the polls. And those lost voters aren't coming back. And every day more and more...
Kim Thomas, totally agree.
More people
Shout
are joining
out to
them
Kim Thomas.
in deserting the party that has failed. And so this is my tragic conclusion. The Conservative Party is over. Over as a national party. Over as the principal opposition to the left. But I am not despondent, because conservatism is not over. It's never been needed more, and actually it's never been more vibrant. Because the failure of the Conservative Party has created space for an alternative. The flame is passing from one torch to another. The old torch, once so great, is guttering, spluttering, held weakly in uncertain hands. But the new torch is already alight, already brighter than the one it is replacing, held aloft in firm and confident hand.
At the moment, Melton Mafia, the more join Reform, the better. Because the way I look at it is, the more people are in the form, the more voices they've got, the more scrutiny they can face, and the more they can get things right. There's nothing wrong with scrutiny. That's why they have a scrutiny committee in most towns and places like that. So, yeah, like you say, I mean, they're actually breaking records, Reform are, at the moment, when it comes to sort of polls and things like that. There's never been such a hated government and such a hated person than Keir Starmer, or Keir Stasi Starmer, as people like to call him, two-tier Keir. You know, free gear Keir, whatever you want to call him. Nobody's hated this man so much. Ever. I'd rather have Tony Blair.
The torch is different. The flame is the same.
And that's saying something.
The things we Conservatives all believe in. Respect for the law, respect for our traditions, personal liberty, national sovereignty, free markets, belief in family, community, country. The trinity of obligations that give us identity and security and purpose. And if we strengthen these things, and the economy which supports them, and the armed forces which defend them, we can weather the storms that are coming, and we can make our country even greater. So I am honoured to have been asked by Nigel to work with him, with Zia Youssef, with Richard Tice and our other colleagues to help Reform prepare for government. This is a team with the vision, the energy and the ideas that...
Let's just hope they get this right. This is probably the only chance Great Britain has got. I'm just hoping they get it right. I really am.
We need. And so let me say a word about the work that we're going to do. It's going to be difficult because or to go down to a deserved demise.
Criteria number one is, what do these individuals stand for? But more importantly, what are they going to give? What is the benefit to us of them joining? And they're the only ones I have any interest in. In this particular case, Danny Kruger is aligned with us, whether it's on the Brexit vote, whether it's on the Windsor framework, whether it's on ECHR. You know, politically, we're very, very aligned indeed. And he's just taken on a mammoth piece of work, and he's better qualified to do it than any of the rest of us that are in the senior levels of leadership in this party at the moment.
Thank you. Also, Chris...
Do you want to know what I want to see through every village you drive through, every city, every town, every hamlet? Flags. More and more flags. The flags were taken down on Burton Road that somebody went out of their way to put up. I've seen a couple of other flags going up in town. We need more people willing to put up flags on lampposts, on higher up, and more of them. That's what I want to see. That had nothing to do with this, but
for me, and in fact, my seat is not particularly a Reform target.
Random.
Reform are doing well, even in East Wiltshire at the moment. So I don't accept that I'm simply jumping ship to save my skin. In fact, I'm taking a very significant personal risk here. The fact is that I feel nothing changes when the governments change at the moment, and I think that's where the country are too. And what I hoped after the last election...
100% Melton Mafia Sadiq Khan does need to go. And I think they were on about giving this guy a knighthood. What?
...is that my party, the Conservatives, would recognise how profound the challenge that they faced is. They haven't done so. And my view now is that the best hope for conservatism and for the country is Nigel's Reform Party. But yes, it is going to be a major challenge, and Nigel's asked me to do a very, very difficult job, so I don't think I'm scuttling off an easy life.
Now, if you go back, Kim Toms, if you go back and look at my previous video that I did in the marketplace the other day, there was a gentleman that came down to actually debate Reform, saying, and one of the questions he asked is Reform going to send back the women from the Afghan scheme? The answer to that is no. They're not going to send back the women from the Afghan scheme. The Afghan scheme is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. These are people that have fought for us in the war. We had interpreters, we had lots of other things going on. I used to work at the vet camp myself. I used to work with these people. And they deserve to be in this country. They will assimilate into this country. They will integrate into this country. And they will make a nice addition to this country as well. They can't go back to their own country because they will be persecuted and probably murdered. The same for the Ukrainian scheme. But there is a big difference between the Afghan scheme and the Ukrainian scheme, and a bunch of men coming with no passports over on a boat that we don't know who they are and what they have done in the past. They're getting rid of them passports for a reason, because then it's open season for them. And that is what Reform need to get a grasp of.
With this move.
No, that's certainly true. Chris, in answer to your question, my partner is a private individual. She purchased a house in the constituency. I was pleased that she did. I didn't particularly want my name
Shout out to Smithy.
down, living in the constituency for obvious security reasons. Lots of questions were asked, which is why I went last week to an independent KC, tax expert. I've got all the judgment.
Another way to get the potholes repaired. I'm sorry, that's just made me laugh, Smithy. Yeah, just go and paint in a flaming St George's crossing all the potholes. I've actually seen it on the internet. Or if you've got a fridge that needs taking away, put a big red cross on the front of it. They'll soon get rid of that fucker.
The KYC checks were done. The money was legal. The purchase was legitimate. The right level of stamp duty was paid. There have been no laws of any kind broken whatsoever. As for the source of the money, I've said previously what I've said, and I'm not going to say any more. Thank you. Chris Hope, GB News.
Thank you. Chris Hope from GB News.
I agree with Charlie there. Controlled, definitely.
Danny Kruger, you're the new Reform UK MP. What has Nigel Farage got that Kemi Badenoch hasn't got as a leader, apart from a big poll lead?
Don't answer that.
Why would he be a better PM than Mrs Badenoch? And who approached you, Nigel Farage? Did you approach him or he approached you?
Danny Kruger approached me initially. Well, you know, you meet in the House of Commons. You meet in the voting lobbies, things like that. So to say, where did the direct approach come from? I'm not even sure, to be frank with you. But this is a conversation that has happened between Danny and I, and it's been going on over the course of the summer.
Yeah. Probably started when Lee Anderson defected, however many years ago, actually. That's when the conversation began, but I never thought it was... I didn't think it was the right thing to do until now. And, Chris, I think I don't want to make a comparison between Nigel and Kemi. I have great personal regard for her, actually. I think she's done a very, very difficult job with courage and resilience, and I like her personally. I think the problem is the Conservative Party. So any leader that the Conservatives have, I think, would struggle with two essential problems. One is a divided...
Now, I actually think Kemi Badenoch is actually a good MP. She's got the right questions at the right times, but I know that her and Nigel Farage a good few months ago had a bit of a falling out at the numbers that were joining Reform. Kemi Badenoch was basically accusing Nigel Farage of things and normal party politics, the usual shit that goes on, but the mudslinging needs to stop, and as I've said before, these questions that we've got need answering. And at the moment, we've got nobody to answer them because they just call us far-right, racist, fascist, Nazis. And it's not sticking anymore. The mud is not sticking. They used to have this thing whereas if you throw enough shit, it blinds them. That's the way the far left work. Well, it don't work anymore. So, you know, with your cancel culture that's just had a massive fucking upgrade from the right with all these people, you know, losing their jobs and everything because of what was said about Charlie Kirk. These are some of the most fundamental things. I've always said, every single day I've said, basically use lefty tactics against lefty people.
Parliamentary party and indeed party in the country. And secondly, a toxic brand. And it's not just a brand problem, it's a real problem. The fact is the country doesn't trust Conservatives because of their record in office over the last 14 years, and particularly the last few years, when, by the way, I was opposing what the Conservative government was doing on migration in particular. So I think that, unfortunately, whatever leader we have, the Conservative Party is finished as the principal opposition to the left. But the good news is we do have a great alternative in Reform Party, my new colleagues, and in its leader, who I think does have the character and the track record of persistent commitment to the cause and to the interests of the British people that they will be looking for. So I'm very, very pleased to be jumping onto the Nigel Farage machine, but I wish my former colleagues very, very well. I have nothing but personal regard for all of them.
Thank you. Let's go to Liz Bates from Sky News.
I'm just reading the comments as they're coming in, people. Some bloody good points there. Keep going, get chatting to each other, get your point across.
I was going to say, it sounds like you think the Conservative Party
Hit the like
is dead
button.
and finished for good. And is that true? But
As
I think
many times
we
as
know
you
that
can.
already. In terms of your other colleagues, you still have high regard for a lot of them. Do you expect any more of them to come over? Are there more conversations going on? And Mr Farage, if I could get your response to the scenes that we saw over the weekend,
Come on, everyone, smash that like button. We can get more people in like that. We need the numbers to go up. We're at 34. Let's get people watching this. Go and smash the like button. Hit the heart button as many times as you can.
marches, the presence of Tommy Robinson, and in particular, the comments of Elon Musk, fight or die. What do you make of all of that?
So on the first question, I don't think the Conservative Party is dead. I just think it's over as the principal opposition.
I disagree with that. I would say the Conservative Party are done. The Conservative, they've completely destroyed themselves over the last 15 years. They've completely destroyed themselves, and you've got to admit that some of this shit that Labour's had to pick up has been very difficult. But they've just made an already bad situation much, much, much worse. They've managed to do in the space of a year what's took the Tories 15 years to do. I mean, let's be absolutely honest about it.
And the principal vehicle of conservatism, the sort of conservatism that I believe in. And I think in reality, it is very unlikely that they're going to recover significantly or soon. And my personal view is ever. So I'm not predicting that there will never be Conservative Party or Conservative
Thank
MPs.
you for all the likes.
I would hope that colleagues who share my view about the crisis that the country is in and the opportunity that reform offers to save our country at the next election will follow me. In terms of what conversations are underway, I have absolutely no idea, and that's best left to the leader. Nigel, are there other conversations underway?
Thank you.
I imagine the conversations are going to be about basically inflation, they're going to be about immigration, they're going to be about, are we going to actually take all these men and deport them back to where they came from? Because there's a lot of Romanians, there's a lot of, there's all different sorts of men coming over on the boats now. It's mad. It's absolute madness. We've never seen anything like this in our lifetime, and we're very much... I don't think we'll ever see it again, if Reform get in. We'll have to wait and see.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. But of course, we keep everything under wraps. I mean, when we have negotiations with people, nothing leaks. None of you had a clue that Danny would be joining us today, and that's how we operate, and that's very much how I operate. A quick thought on the Conservative Party. Whether it is the parrot in the Monty Python sketch, I don't know. What I do know is this Conservative Party has zero chance of winning the next general election. Literally zero chance. But Reform genuinely does. And we've led, as I said earlier, for over 100 opinion polls. As for Saturday, I think the vast majority of people that turned up were good, ordinary, decent people who are very, very concerned about what's happening in this country. I've noticed that the wave of flags that started about 3 weeks ago, going up around the country.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, Kim.
Far from subsiding, from what I could see this weekend, it's accelerating massively. And it is a collective, 2 fingers up to a British establishment that they feel utterly betrayed by in every single way. So I fully understand why people would go and march. The comments of Elon Musk you asked me about. Well, Elon and
I'm quite surprised at that. Nigel Farage basically turning around and admitting he's actually, understands why people are marching. But then Keir Starmer just turns around and says, oh, it's far right. I will call them Metropolitan Police. He's a fucking tool, isn't he?
I have a relationship. Wouldn't say a very good one. He's generally rather rude about me, even though I do admire him in many ways. It would be nice to get some clarification of what fight meant in that context. And I'll link it back to something that Danny said earlier. We are radical, but we're not revolutionaries. If the fight that Musk was talking about was...
If anybody thought that Elon Musk meant a physical fist fight, right, what he meant is the fight for our country, being done in Parliament and being done by the people standing up and raising the flags. That's what he meant. Now, anybody who has got anything about them would understand that. But you've got the far left coming in and saying, oh, he meant, and they're saying this after they've just gone and done what they did to Charlie Kirk. Again, the left have now got no room for manoeuvre anywhere at all. They're in this maze that you cannot get out of. They're fucked it. That's my opinion. They are absolutely, completely and utterly 100% fucked it. And excuse my language, but yeah.
It was about standing up for our rights of free speech. If it was about fighting in elections to overcome the established parties, then that absolutely is the fight that we're in. And
Kemi Smithy and Lana are all having a bit of a debate on my channel. I've never seen this before. I'm going to do a running commentary on it. I'm not. Carry on. But hit the like button.
I think the context of the way the word was used left a degree of ambiguity. Thank you. Carl Dinnan, ITV News.
Thanks very much. Danny has just described reform as being the new home of conservatism. How then are you going to continue to persuade former Labour voters to vote for you, if that is the case?
That's already been done. There are plenty of people leaving Labour, day in, day out. I've heard people that I know that have been Labour voters in town for many, many years saying they would never vote for Labour again after what has happened. They would never vote for them again. And
Danny, I'd like to ask you about something you said in your speech. You said quite explicitly, Britain is not broken. Are you aware that Nigel has spent the whole summer saying that it is? And finally, Nigel, just a quick one. Do you think Peter Mandelson was worth the risk as US ambassador to the United States?
Oh, gosh. We'll be here all day, Carl, just with you, won't we? Look, you can define conservatism how you want. What is for certain, if you look at those by-election results last Thursday, we are doing very well in the old Labour heartlands because they believe in family, community, country, all right? And what people like Danny have been looking for is a brand of conservatism that's consistently been promised and not delivered. And that's the really important point. As to whether Britain is broken or not, Danny's more bullish than me. He's more optimistic than me.
Thank you, Kim Thomas, for sharing that and telling people to watch it. Much appreciated. I really do appreciate every share and every like and every thumbs up. I even appreciate the thumbs down. It all helps the algorithm. This is what this is all about, debate. People from the left, people from the right, people actually being able to debate in a safe environment, which is why I was trying to advocate for a speaker's corner in town. I'm actually friends with what people would call a lefty, if you want to call him that, who comes down to the reform tent and stands there and debates. And he's such a lovely guy. He's a really nice guy. He listens to you. He listens to your questions. He answers the questions if he can answer them. You know, but the first question he'll come in, he'll ask you a question, and then he'll turn around with his little trick and turn around and say, yes, but are you an expert on that? Not going to work.
But we both agree on one thing. The state the country's in needs radical change. Tinkering at the edges will not make any difference. And as for Mandy, well, you know, clever bloke, good at what he does. I confronted him face to face when he was European Commissioner. There was no doubt the man was a master of a brief, but a totally catastrophic appointment from day one. A huge political error from Keir Starmer, from Morgan McSweeney, and it looks like one or both of them will fall as a result of that judgment. We will find out more over the course of the coming days, but a catastrophic political error.
Quick question for everybody that's actually watching at the moment. Do you think Kemi Beganoff should join Reform? Do you think Kemi Beganoff would be good for Reform? Do you think she'd do a decent job? And if so, what position do you think she should take when Reform win the next election?
Francis Reid, Channel 4 News.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kruger, you've previously called Reform a destructive force, so I'm wondering what's changed. And secondly, forgive me, you're another Eton boy, Oxbridge graduate. Can you explain to working class voters how you can understand their lives and why it's any different from the Tories? Mr. Farage, you've distanced yourself from Tommy Robinson, but Elon Musk is amplifying him. Will you outright condemn their actions today? And also, what legal means do you think Elon Musk could possibly have in mind in saying that a democratically elected government should be overthrown?
So,
Totally
Reform
agree.
is a destructive force. It's destructive of the established parties, and I mean that's
a very good pivot. I like that.
I mean, you like it. I have regretted it, and I do, on a personal level, genuinely regret it, because there are some brilliant candidates in my constituency who lost their seats at the council elections to Reform at the council elections earlier this year, and the fact is the landscape is changing dramatically.
Another thing to worry about is, are these people coming over from the Tory party to the Reform Party just basically career politicians? Obviously, they've come from rich backgrounds and everything else. They're all Oxford Bridge and all the rest of it, all sort of champagne socialists. You don't know what's going on there, do we? This is my worry. This is my genuine worry.
Brutal reality of a first-past-the-post system, though, is that there's only really space for one major party on the right of politics if we are serious about trying to win power on the right, as we should be. And therefore, as I said, I think the flame has passed to a different torch. So what I don't believe, though, is Reform is destructive of our country. In fact, quite the reverse. As we've heard, we want to restore the foundations of our country, address the parts of our communities that genuinely are broken, restore families, communities and our country itself. So it's a creative as well as a destructive.
Smithy saying that flaming Kemi Beganoff would damage Reform. I don't know if I'd 100% agree with that. It all depends, like you say. Is she a career politician? Would she be bringing conservatism over to the Reform Party? And if so, what type of conservatism? Because I believe we've got two different types of conservatism now. They say centre right, centre left.
Force, and I'm very proud to be working with it. On your cheap shot about my education, fair enough.
See you later, Mr. Fuller.
None of us can claim to have personal experience of every experience that people in the country have. I recognise that. Nevertheless, I would say, partly as a constituency MP, but actually more in the work that I've done outside politics. For 10 years, I ran a charity which I still chair, working in prisons and with ex-prisoners. We work with many families at risk. I'm very, very familiar on a personal level with the challenges that so many people in our country face who have lives very different from mine. And I would hope, and the experience shows, in fact, as happened in 2019 when I was so proud with Boris Johnson's achievement.
So I'm going to stop the video there, guys, because I think we've heard enough. We know what the video was actually about was Nigel Farage receiving death threats from the far left, and obviously going back to this, that the police have been lying all along about, obviously about the numbers. They were saying there was a 100,000 there. There were way more than 100,000 patriots on them streets, including families, people from every race, colour, creed, sexuality, gender, everything. They were all there. And there was like loads of different flags. We had Wales, we had Northern Ireland, we had the British, we had the St George's Cross, we had the Jack, we had all these flags were there, the Scottish flag, and they turn around and try and call us racist, they call us fascists and all the rest of it, and Keir Starmer has got to go. Here's the evidence that the Met Police are nothing but fucking liars, because of basically they get told what to do, and They just do it because they're a bunch of fucking sheep. That's why they have numbers on their shoulders. Now, most policemen, not all, most policemen, I think, do a hard enough job as it is. And they did do a pretty good job. But I believe they led them down that street to cause havoc so the mainstream media could get their footage for what they need for their propaganda. So they could spin this propaganda and make everybody look bad that was there on that march. Over 1 million people. And with 26 arrests out of 1 million people, that's fucking good. That's really good, because I'll tell you what, you've had a few thousand from the Palestine actions and they've had 50 to 60 arrests on one day. And that's been happening every weekend for the last 2 years. Now, people are absolutely sodding sick to the back teeth of it. We are not Palestine. I don't even know if Palestine exists, does it? A bit like most of the shit that goes on in a far left ideology's head. They make shit up. They all think they're fucking unicorns. They all think they're, you know, cats. Well, if you're a cat, go and shit in that cat litter tray in the corner. It's as plain and as simple as that. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and give it a big thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down and have your say. We are a big free speech channel. Do not, call anybody any nasty names and get personal. I won't even bother answering it. I'll just delete it. It's as plain and as simple as that. But debate is a good thing. Anyway, I will hopefully see you in the next video, and goodbye for now.
Street Switch Photography.